Daily Trot. I'm Jason Gilbo, J Gilbo 11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J Clay. Back from the All-Star break, looking at the DraftKings 14-game slate. We're ready to roll. I mean, I'm back. You're not quite awake yet. You've been in a deep slumber for about 3-4 days.
Let's slow down there, Sonny. No, I'm awake now. I'm on cup 1.5 of coffee. Our shotguns are loaded. We're ready to fight. We're ready to go hunt some wild boar. Yeah.
Russell gets 40 minutes of Wi-Fi out in the forest there.
I'm going to stop talking, and you're going to transition this into the slate somehow.
Yeah, here we go. Pirates and Nationals, Francisco
okay.
Liriano, Steven Strasburg on the hill. For me, you're looking at this Pirates team that hit well, or better than what they were doing for most of that kind of first half there on the last 10 days before the break. These guys aren't cheap enough for me to even consider using against Strasburg, and I even think even if they were cheap, you're not really looking to use anyone against Strasburg at this point. So definitely kind of off the table for me. I kind of like some of these Nationals bats, though, against Liriano at some of their price tags.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely like some of the Nationals bats. Obviously, Murphy and Harper, pretty expensive there, but I mean, a Rendon or a Trey Turner or something like that, I'd definitely be willing to fire away with those. And they have sort of a slightly increased floor because of Liriano and his walk rate,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the walk rate's been extremely high this year. Nearly 15% walk rate against righties, allowing a 360 WOBA, 1.43 home runs per 9. So really hasn't been that great this year and been rather up and down. Yeah, I mean, I like Turner 3.4. I like Jason Worth at 3.6. Really nice price tag. Definitely an agreement that Murphy and Harper are kind of out of play just because it's lefty-lefty, and also they're way too expensive.
Yeah.
I also don't mind a Ramos. I mean, 4.2 is not a bad price tag for him. I know it's a little expensive for a catcher, but GPPs, I do think he can kind of pay that price tag off.
Yeah, and he's the type of guy where you're okay with, I mean, in some ways like Posey, like you're okay with paying up for him a little bit sometimes in good matchups. So, yeah, I don't mind that price.
Yeah, definitely. So I like the Nationals bats and GPPs. Cash games, I'm not necessarily on them just because, Liriano still holds some value as far as a name where I'm not necessarily just going to jump all over and expect him to give up 6 runs to my, my starters that I'm rolling out in cash.
Yeah, I definitely agree there.
So, Red Sox and Yankees here. You got Eduardo Rodriguez, Michael Pineda. These Yankees bats are extremely cheap for the most part, and I kind of like these right-handers against the lefty. I like to share a turnaround from the right side. 3.2 is a decent price tag. Starlin Castro at 3.2. These are really cheap, and even Beltran 4.2. So you have some right-handers, 3, 4, 5. That you could use against Eduardo Rodriguez, who's been struggling. I can't even recall a good start from him this year. I mean, he's just been bad against righties.
But man, do they have some backup coming? Pomeranz.
They definitely do, and I'm definitely intrigued with that move.
We're going to stick to today, but I have to imagine you did a little mini fist pump to yourself when you saw that go down.
I was happy because I heard that they were in the rumors for Rich Hill, which I wasn't exactly intrigued with. If you wanted to retain Rich Hill, why didn't you just retain him when you had him? So
right.
You obviously saw something that you didn't necessarily like, or you didn't like the age thing. So you're getting Pomeranz for another year at a cheap price tag. I know it's a small sample size, these pitch well, but I'm going to stop rambling on because I do like the play there.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think Mookie Betts is a little priced out. Like that value, a little more on FanDuel than here. But I'm okay with the Bogarts in this lineup.
Yeah, definitely am too. You look at Pineda, been very up and down. He did have a solid stretch there. 3.42 WOBA to righties this year, 1.64 home runs per 9. I do think Betts is in play as an expensive option, but I definitely agree. I think Bogart's, there at 4.3 is definitely the better value. How do you feel about, Hanley? I mean, if he's in the lineup, I mean, a whole $1,000 cheaper. Could you see yourself using him?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if he's in the lineup, 4,200, not bad. Again, sort of in that same Bogarts tier. He's actually been hitting better of late. At least pre-All-Star break, he kind of got it going. So, yeah, I'm definitely okay with firing away with him there.
Yeah, definitely. And Jackie Bradley Jr.'s price tag really isn't that bad for me to take a shot on at 4-3.
Mm.
So I don't mind that. I mean, Pineda against lefties really hasn't been that great either. So, depending on which Pineda shows up, I think this Sox offense could have just kind of that full-blown stack potential as always. But you also could see maybe they disappoint if you do get good Pineda.
Definitely.
So, Mets and Phillies next one here. And this one, I mean, looking at the Mets side of things, I like some of these price tags. I like Jose Reyes at 3.5.
Mm.
Anderson's a bit overpriced for me here. But obviously,
Yeah.
Neil Walker's not a bad option either. I like the lefties against Hellickson, 350 WOBA allowed this year, 1.67 home runs per nine. So Mets are definitely intriguing in a ballpark that's pretty friendly for both sides of the plate.
Neil Walker's really the guy I'm looking at there. Granderson kind of makes me queasy at 4,600, but I mean he still is in play for tournaments. But I like Neil Walker a lot at 37.
Yeah, I do too, and I think the Mets are kind of definitely a playable cash game team just because they do hold some value, and it's a decent matchup against Hellickson. So as far as the Phillies go, I love Odubel Herrera's price tag 4-1. That's a really nice for what he's kind of been priced up for this last couple of weeks. Against Cologne, who I mean, you're really looking to take more lefties against him than anything. 338 WOBA to lefties this year, 1.82 home runs per nine. So Herrera, Cody Ash, I don't mind those price tags, and I don't mind those bats at all.
Yeah. Cody Ash, definitely like that price. Definitely like Herrera. Those are the two you're really looking at in that lineup, I think.
Yeah, I think Franco at 4.4 is a little expensive for my taste. I don't mind him as a GPP option. I don't mind a Cameron Rupp either at 3.7. It could be something there if nice mid-range catching option.
Yeah, it's a great name. It's a great name. I'll give him that.
Cameron Rupp.
Yeah. I'm assuming he's from North Carolina. If he's not, that's a major upset.
What does that have to do with anything about North Carolina?
Cameron Indoor and Rupp Arena.
Wow, digging deep. You are digging deep.
If he's not from North Carolina, I will be. Trust me, I think about that name every time I see it. Like his parents didn't do that, did they?
He was born in Dallas, Texas. So sorry.
Wow, that's a major bummer.
It's a low blow.
It's a major bummer. That's a me. I quit.
Just take your headphones off and walk away from the table.
Yeah, I quit.
Yeah. Orioles and Rays next one here. You got Giovanni Gallardo versus Chris Archer. Chris Archer's been better at home. For me here, I mean, I do think there is some home run upside for Baltimore, of course, just because you look at Archer and what he's done, and there has been a ton of home runs, and 1.22 home runs per nine to righties, 1.78 to righties, to lefties. So for me, I kind of like these Baltimore bats more so here.
What about the Chris Davis Weeders grouping in 5-6 there? They're pretty cheap and they're not and they have pretty good upside against righties. So I think that's kind of where I'm looking with this lineup instead of the Trumbo for 47.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think overall, you look here at these price tags, I definitely think it's a boomer bust situation and definitely just GPP only for me because Archer does have that high strikeout rate. And you look at Baltimore, they can be tamed a bit at times by guys with high strikeout rates. So definitely not if this game was in Camden Yards, I'd be all over it. I do think it's strictly GPPs, but yeah, the names you mentioned, everyone kind of outside of Trumbo, I like those price tags for tournaments.
Yeah, definitely.
So as far as the Rays go, they're cheap here too. And we were talking about, the lefties against Gallardo have been hitting them pretty well this season, really low ground ball rate. Obviously a short sample size, but Giovanni Gallardo's been kind of mediocre for most of his career. I really like Brad Miller at 3.8. I think there's a really nice price tag, and obviously I think you're going to look and take shots at Morrison and Dickerson at their prices, especially if you're paying up for pitching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
So overall, I do think this game has a little bit more value here on DK than it did on FanDuel. So I'm talking it up a little bit more.
Especially some of those raised bats, they're all pretty neutral in terms of price. So you got to like that.
Yeah, definitely. Tigers and Royals next one here. You got Justin Verlander versus Ian Kennedy. For me, I mean, the one thing you always got to decide, Victor Martinez and Cabrera, and for me, it's Victor Martinez at 4-1.
Yeah.
This lefties have hit Kennedy a little bit better. Obviously, Cabrera has hit Kennedy well in the past, so I don't mind both of them. Um, I think they're kind of both the only ones that I see really in play for this Tigers team. I mean, Castellanos at 4 or 5, I guess you can toss in a tournament. But overall, I'm not quite as in love with the price tags as far as the secondary pieces as I was on FanDuel.
Nah, give me Victor. He'll be batting from the left side of the plate. I think Ian Kennedy's really the Ian matchup. Oh, Narrative Street. Oh, Narrative Street. Ian Kennedy versus Ian Kinsler, first name relation. Oh man, I wonder what's going to happen in that matchup. I bet you throw some cheddar at his face. I bet. Anyway, I don't know where I just went, but Victor Martinez, yeah, you definitely like that at 41. Beyond that though, I'm not actually as enthused by this lineup as I want to be.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
I'm in agreement. I do think kind of here on DK, there's a little bit of sting in those secondary pieces. Obviously, Kennedy struggled on the road. I do think there is some potential there. I do think the Tigers kind of stack 1 through 5 does have some potential. So is it Laura?
Let's see. Nope.
Not
Wireless caller. Could be
No.
a hacker. I've been watching Mr. Robot, so.
Ooh, we catching up?
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
I watched the whole first season on our little vacay. It was delightful.
Nice. Well, thanks for sharing that with me, man.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
The Royals here, yes, they're cheap. I'm not necessarily a big fan of attacking against Verlander on a 14-game slate. You could make the case that, there are a couple of bats like Hosmer at 3-4 you might want to take a shot at. But for me, the slate's way too big to kind of dive down and take this matchup with.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's how you feel about it.
Yeah.
Reds and Brewers, next one here, and I like this game quite a bit.
Yeah.
We can jump on the Brewers side of things in those price tags. Discofani, I mean, more so has less success against lefties than he does righties, but you really can't knock the price tag of Ryan Braun or Lucroy here, both under 4,500.
Yeah, I think these are pretty viable options. Obviously, Desclafani, or however you pronounce his name. I mean, obviously he's been good over the last month. No one would deny that. But again, the bullpen's still sitting there. They are projected for 5 runs, and I mean, these Brewers are at reasonable prices. So I'm looking at a Braun. I'm looking at even a Chris Carter for the upside. I think is an okay play.
Yeah, and for the guys you're looking at, I like the lefties, Jonathan Villar, Scooter Gannett here. Really like Gannett's price tag at 3.5, much better value here on DK. And lefties against Discofani have been relatively successful. Villar's price tag is a little bit high for me in cash games, but I definitely don't mind it. I don't mind that upside in Great American Ballpark. So definitely wouldn't be surprised to see the Brewers go through a decent stretch, and kind of same thing with the Reds. I think there's they're a decent play here. You're just looking to get at Garza, who's looked like much as his last year's self in these last couple of starts. And 1 through 5 for me on the Reds is definitely intriguing. And I like Bruce's price. I get 4.3.
Yeah, and I would even throw Brendan Phillips in there as the 6th guy. But yeah, 1 through 5 really what you want to be concentrating on. Billy Hamilton even maybe you can get on base and get a stolen and steal one. So yeah, all those guys are in play.
Yeah, definitely. So I definitely like that game as offense on both sides there.
Mm-hmm.
Rockies and Braves here, and this is something that's site dependent. The Rockies bats are priced like they're outside of cores.
Yes.
You got a Cargo at 3.5, you got a Blackman at 3.9, you got an Arenado at 4.1. I'm still not necessarily on board, but I think I will toss in an exposure to, against them. Against Lucas Harrell, even though Turner Field is obviously more of a pitcher's park than anything.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at Story. That's a different story per site. Obviously,
Jesus.
3K.
That was
3K.
so bad.
That was so bad. 3K on FD and 42 here. So I think he's kind of out of play. But yeah, you look at a Carlos Gonzalez and Blackman. I think you can team up those lefty outfielders and kind of throw them into a tournament.
Yeah, and you look at Lucas Harrell, I mean, a couple good starts here so far, but overall, I mean, his career numbers are very average against both sides of the plate. So, I don't mind taking some shots on here. They're not going to be cash game guys for me, So limit yourself is what I'm kind of getting at here.
Yeah, for sure.
As far as the Braves go, I talked about this on FanDuel. I kind of like Jorge De La Rosa as a GPP option. Not a lot of guys I see myself taking, maybe outside of Jeff Francoeur at 3,200. He's the only one who I think in the tournament I'll toss in that's not against my De La Rosa lineups.
Yeah, I guess. I probably just I don't think that's a worthy investment tonight. Just any of those guys, really.
No, I mean, when are they? I mean, to be honest.
Oh, there's been times, my friend.
No, Irvin Santana he's out 4 to 6 weeks. He was the only viable option I found myself constantly using. You will be missed. Pour one out for T Flower.
Oh, yeah, I know. Bummer.
Sorry to just crap all over your morning.
Hey, that's fine. Yeah. Just don't crap in the yard so my dog doesn't roll in it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a morning topic from us.
Yes, that's what happened to me this morning. Stupid cat pooping in the backyard. My dog I think he would literally eat it probably too, but he didn't. He just rolled in it and got smelly.
That's good.
Yeah. Really
Indians and Twins, Carlos Carrasco versus Irvin Santana, and it's hard to like the Twins here. As a whole on a 14-game slate, I think the Indians' price tags. I don't mind Francisco Lindor at 4-1, and it's still more the secondary pieces here of a Jose Ramirez or Ryan Chisenhall that I'm more intrigued with. But I know the Indians are projected for 4.5 runs, but they're definitely not a favorite offense of mine tonight.
Yeah, I do like them, but again, they're just priced up. So I definitely fire in a Lindor tonight. I think that's very reasonable, especially compared to FanDuel. But beyond that, they're all really. I mean, there's no discounts other than that, really.
No, which is kind of the issue for me with the Indians offense at this point. You do want more of the upside for the price tags, and sure, they can give it to you at times, but you look at those guys, I mean, they're not necessarily big-time home run potential threats.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Marlins and Cardinals next one here. You got Wei-Yin Chen versus Jaime Garcia. I kind of like both sides here. I do think it's an intriguing game to kind of target as far as one-offs go. Some of these bats are a little bit different. I mean, obviously, you're looking at Ozuna 4.4. I think it's a decent price tag for him. Stanton 4.9. Real Muto a little expensive for me at that price tag behind the dish, but I don't mind him against Garcia, who's been a little bit more average of late. Especially in the home run department. So hasn't really been carrying out that high ground ball rate like he used to.
Yeah, I'm okay with some of these prices. I mean, I like Ozuna over Stanton tonight for sure. At 44. But beyond that, I mean, I don't know. I'm not necessarily in on this Marlins lineup.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely kind of a boomer bust type, style of game, I think. And kind of looking at the Cardinals side, the prices are a little bit higher than you would like, especially Piscotty and Diaz, 5K and 4.9. If Holiday's in the lineup, that 3.3 price tag is really nice, and same thing with the Johnny Peralta at 3.5. I don't mind those price tags against Chen, who struggled on the road. Has been much more average against righties like he always has been, and also, I mean, the home run potential is still there, even in Busch Stadium.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely like that Holiday price if he is in the lineup, so keep an eye on that.
Yeah, definitely. So, and you might see someone sneak up, and Greg Garcia might sneak down, so that could be something there too.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dodgers and Diamondbacks, and we can jump right into the Diamondbacks taking on Bud Norris, and we love Jake Lamb over on FanDuel, 5,500 here.
So that's where it should be. I mean, not necessarily that high, but at least 5K. It's a great matchup for him.
Great matchup, and the way he's been hitting park factors. I mean, I can see why the algorithm did price him at 5,500. Right. I'm definitely going to have my shares. He's not quite a cash game guy for me just because that price tag is high. I find myself being a little bit more limited just because of paying up for pitching, but Lamb's a great option.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, 5,500. It's kind of like with David Ortiz, nights he's facing righties. It's like, okay, well, he's 5,600, but I mean, that's what you got to pay sometimes to get those really high-end options. So I like that matchup tonight, and I definitely like him more than Goldschmidt.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, Segura and Goldschmidt price tags are a little high for me. Bud Norris has been relatively strong against righties this year. Not particularly
Mhm.
intrigued. Obviously, in this ballpark, anything can happen. So Bud Norris could come in and struggle from both sides. So they're in play. Nothing more than maybe a lineup or two where they're in it for me.
Right.
So as far as the Dodgers go, I like Howie Kendrick at 3-4. He should jump up into the top half of the lineup. Some of these guys are a decent value. A little bum Corey Seager is high 4.8. I didn't mind him, but I think you're kind of looking at the Yasiel Puig, type guys. Howie Kendrick, Justin Turner. I know we talked about him. I mean, doesn't hit lefties all that well, but with kind of the pricing differences here, I might take a shot on him.
Yeah, I think he's worth a shot here, but at the same time, this lineup is kind of tough to trust on an individual basis. I definitely get the collective here, but I don't necessarily see a particular great matchup I want to exploit.
No, I don't think so either, just because the Dodgers haven't handled lefties all that well. So, you were jumping all over him when you saw Shelby Miller on the hill, and then he got optioned, and then Corbin's coming in to step in. So it's also a small result of that.
Right.
White Sox and Angels, next one here, you got Miguel Gonzalez versus Hector Santiago. I like these prices a little bit more here. I like a Cole Calhoun at 3.5. I think it's a really nice price tag. And you still have that punt play in Daniel Nava, which we mentioned on FanDuel. Miguel Gonzalez, much average against lefties over his career. So I don't mind this Angels offense. But overall, I mean, there's never really any tremendous stacking appeal with them.
You definitely like Cole Calhoun's price, though, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's a dime. That's one of a kind. Definitely like that, but yeah, other than him, I'm not paying $5K for Trout tonight. I'd rather just, if I'm going over $5K, just get Lamb or something like that. So Calhoun there, and yeah, like you mentioned, Daniel Nava, but beyond that, kind of ugly.
Yeah, definitely. And on the White Sox side of things, I mean, their prices are relatively similar to FanDuel, where it's super cheap. They're coming as values. And I would love this White Sox team to be much more reliable, because I would be much more I'd be a richer man if they were more reliable, because they continue to be priced down in decent spots. And you look at Santiago, I mean, there was a lot of home run potential there, just given 1.82 home runs per 9 to righties this year. And even in his home ballpark, you can't contain it. So I don't mind Tim Anderson at 4K. I like Todd Frazier's price tag a little bit better here. 4.4 is not really that bad. It doesn't take a tremendous hit.
All right, let's do it, Jose Abreu. I'm doing it. 3,400. All right, let's go. Yep. And tournaments, let's do it. Fire it away. 3,400. That's cheap, man.
It is cheap. It is cheap. I mean, there is a small chance it's less risky at a 3-4 price tag, but he's also at a position where you kind of want that big upside, and you kind of want that to always deliver. And he really hasn't had a ton of high upside games this year.
No, he hasn't. But
no, but
I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
God bless you, sir. Someone has to.
Yeah.
Blue Jays and Athletics. Next one here, Marcus Stroman versus Daniel Mengden. Once again, the Blue Jays bats are a little expensive. Encarnacion's price at 4.6 definitely isn't bad. Donaldson's still super expensive. I mean, maybe they priced him up for the narrative. I mean, 5,600.
Yeah, I guess the home field former team narrative really coming through strong in the algorithm there, huh?
I guess that's what it is. I mean, he's priced. Let's not. I mean, Donaldson's been a freaking monster fantasy wise, so it's not like we're ripping on him for his performance. It's just funny to see, him above 5K when we see him in better matchups for cheaper. So,
right. Yeah. I mean, you can't deny him again. That's what you got to pay for those high end upside guys, but I'm probably not going to be doing that. Encarnacion, if anyone, is probably my move. And maybe, I mean, Ezekiel Carrera, 3,600. That's not a bad price against Mengden.
No, it's definitely not. That he's a guy who I don't mind. And Michael Saunders kind of an intriguing option, just because I do like the lefties a little bit more here. He would be kind of a GPP threat. I can see kind of maybe tossing myself in, or maybe playing the late slate and getting some exposure to as well.
Definitely.
Because, I mean, if you look, the Bumgarner price tag at 11.1, That's not that bad. I mean, you're kind of
It's not bad at
you're getting
all.
an extra bat or two, so it's going to be nice. You can have a little bit more lenient. There's some SP2s you can pay down. A lot of different leeway here on DraftKings that you kind of feel good about tonight.
I mean, God, it's like 1,314 or 14K, 13.7. Like, and that's what him and Kershaw cost, but not today. So,
hey,
yeah, definitely take advantage of that.
definitely. So, as far as the A side of things go, Marcus Stroman 3.39, Woba to lefties this season. Josh Reddick at 3.4, intriguing. Vogt 3.7. I don't mind those guys. Not particularly looking at Valencia or Chris Davis as far as the right side of things go.
No.
You know, Stroman a little bit tougher on righty, so I'm kind of just staying away from this Oakland offense in general.
Yeah, I think that's the move. Just fade, unless a Reddick's not bad, and you can throw him in the outfield and feel pretty comfortable with it. So I'm okay with that. But yeah, other than him, I think you're fading that offense.
Yeah, definitely. So Houston, Seattle, next one here. Let's jump right into the Seattle Bats, which I know you're a fan of. Seager's price tag much higher here than it was over on FanDuel, 4.9. But Cano's still sitting at that mid price that I like quite a bit at 4.4. I mean, we talked about lefties against Fister this season. It's been relatively successful. 40% hard ball rate, 374 WOBA, 2.10 home runs per 9. I like the lefties here. I like the Seattle team as kind of a quiet, sneaky stack tonight.
Yeah, that combo isn't necessarily. Some of the shine definitely wears off with the DK pricing, but at the same time, I think you still feel comfortable with the matchup regardless of the price. So I'm okay with Seager at 49, but he's more of a tournament, whereas I still think Cano is cash.
Yeah, I think so too. And Leonis Martin at 3K, really nice value leading off there. So I definitely don't mind him. And obviously Seth Smith with some home run potential.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as the Astros side of things go, they still priced up higher than I'd like them.
Correa's all right.
He's been so bad. He looks completely lost against lefties. It's been unreal. So, yeah, I mean, they continuously kind of get me to bite in some lineups where I'm taking Correa against, mediocre lefties. You know, in one day it'll pay off.
Yeah, exactly.
So
one day.
The Altuve price 5,100. Obviously, Altuve against the lefty is always intriguing. I like Cano a little bit for cheaper. I like some other guys for cheaper. I don't see myself using a Houston offense quite a bit tonight, or really, if any, maybe a piece or two, but nothing crazy.
Yeah, I might fire a Correa in there, but I mean, it's not necessarily the highest. The floor could definitely fall out from under you with that one.
Yeah, definitely. And we've seen that happen numerous times this year.
Right.
As far as the Giants and Padres go here, pricing, as we talked about a little bit with Bumgarner, a little bit odd. Padres bats are priced highly. I mean, Will Myers, 5,400, Melvin Upton, 4,800. Kemp's the only one who's remotely cheap, 3.7. The algorithm's a little off here for me, or are they just kind of buying into this Padres are just going to mash any lefty that comes against them?
I think we're confidently stacking Padres tonight at those prices. Yeah, that's a mess. I don't know what happened there, but clearly that's not correct. You know what I mean?
Yeah, someone needs to get fired. I think that's what it happened.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm calling for some job. I'm calling for some jobs over there. Not really. That's not right.
Sending emails. Hey, what happened over here?
Why is Will Myers priced at 5,400? That's outrageous.
Yeah, but I mean that's just obviously something to avoid for the Padres.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, just because Bumgarner's price is cheap, the Padres' prices are expensive. The Giants' bets here, I mean, I like them from both sides of the plate. I like Angel Pagan's price at 4.1. I like Brendan Crawford at 4.4. You kind of have a little anti-Belton Posey thing just because of their prices. Let's be honest,
man. It's just a drag.
What do you? I know, but I mean, they deserve it sometimes.
You know what? They don't. There's no Barry Bonds anymore, and they're boring, and they still win, but I don't know how they win, so it's boring. And
because they have no fancy purposes for you. You just completely write them off.
Yeah, and I mean, Buster Posey's a nice guy, I'm sure. Probably great family or whatever, but too expensive, and I don't particularly like that. It's always priced up, and had enough.
So who you like, Crawford? You like Pagan? No.
Not really on Crawford at 44. No.
So once again, you're just completely writing ship. Giants off the table for you. Cross them off.
Yeah.
Not
I'm
a
not.
big fan.
No. Get out of here.
Whatever. You know what? I hope the Giants hang like 11 runs tonight, and
Good. Yeah, me too. Yeah, just so I'll hate him even more. Yeah.
That's going to wrap things up here with the DK Daily Trot. Be sure to check out DailyFantasyCafe.com for all great tools and content.